Freedom Fighters, coming back at you with a special Monday edition. I usually do a weekly wrap up on Friday or Saturday, but there was a couple things I wanted to touch on last week that I didn't end up getting to. So here I am coming at you on Monday. But yeah, let's see what we got on the docket today. I was going to touch on the Laken Riley case and do some story time. And for those new viewers, we do have some new subs, so welcome to the channel. Story time is a segment that I made up where I talk about things that have personally happened to me or, others around me. Something that I have firsthand knowledge of. So I'm going to tell that and a story of a criminal kitty, a cat charged with felonies. And then we're going to talk about some comments that I received recently. So that's what's on the docket for today, and I'm going to see if I can mash that all together into some sort of coherent message. So here we go. I guess I think I'll talk about the cat thing first. And no, it's not an actual real story. It's an analogy that I've thought about for a while. But, I was thinking for a while that declawing a cat is like disarming a citizen. And I was in the vet recently and I overheard someone talking about their cat getting declawed, and the veterinarian was talking to him and saying, well, does it ever go outdoors? Not even like, is it an outdoor cat, but has it ever escaped? Does it ever get outdoors? And the lady was like, yeah, it does, get out sometime and stay out there, and, it always comes back to the house. But they were like, if it spends any time outside, I wouldn't recommend getting it declawed. And if you do, you have to, you're responsible for it, and it needs to stay indoors because you're responsible for its safety. But when they disarm you, do you just automatically become an indoor person? Are they going to pay for bodyguards and security to roam around with you and keep you safe? No, they don't give a damn. They just, leave you to the wind, and whatever happens, happens. And I remember watching a documentary or something, too, on this one animal sanctuary or like a zoo where they do like rehab for animals and stuff. And it was for tigers and lions and stuff like that. And I'm not sure if they declaw all of them or if there's this one specific animal, but they were saying that they declawed it, and they were like, yeah, once you do this, it's going to have to stay here with us, and, it's going to be in captivity for the rest of its life. We can't ever let it go. Once again, because they're responsible for its safety, and it can't go out there. Once you take away its defense mechanisms, it's, it's open for attack, and it's never going to be able to protect itself. It's not going to be able to survive. And ultimately, that's what they do when they disarm the citizenry. It's taking away your ability to survive. And that's the point we're going to get to. And being disarmed is like declawing a cat. So yeah, this is where the story time comes in. I'm going to tell something, personally, this was kind of the start of my 2A activism. I was chilling with my aunt a while back. And this was years ago, 10 or 12 years ago. And she was just moving in. She was on, the bad side of town, and I was hanging out with her. And she was saying how she was worried about where she was staying at and everything and the things she was seeing. And I was like, yeah, I know this area is bad and everything, but, and I have haphazardly joked with her, but, like, you're packing, right? And she's like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean, no? I'm like, you don't have a gun, you better get one. She goes, and knowing how she was raised, from my grandparents, literally raised up on a farm, out in the country and all that. I'm like, I don't understand, why not? And that's when she explained to me, she has a past, she has a criminal record, she's a felon. And, I always knew, like something was going on with her. I never really got the full answer, but, as a kid, like, there was times she wouldn't show up, like Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving, stuff like that. Um, and I'd be like, well, where's she at? And oh, she's gonna be gone for a while. And I never really understood that. I was like, what, is she dead? And then they were like, no, she's not dead. She's okay, but yeah, she had to go away for a while. Or they say she moved away, but we can't talk to her or something. And I never really understood that, But later on in my teenage years, I understood like she was having problems. And then she later told me, she has the criminal past due to drug use and alcohol abuse. So I'm like, I never understood how can someone from that background be barred from protecting themselves and let out into the wild without protection. And so then yeah, she was saying, she's seen break-ins and robberies and people getting attacked and all this stuff. And then one day she messaged us saying, there's someone dead outside of my apartment. And she's like, it's on the news and stuff, and check it out, see if you can see it, because there's cameras out here and there's cops surrounding my building and all this stuff, and they just put the sheet over this guy, so he's gone. And I turned on the news and I saw it, and I saw her apartment right in the view of the cameras, and I was waiting to see her peeking out the window curtains looking all scared and afraid. And I'm just like, it's absolutely ridiculous that she's unable to protect herself. Which, by the way, my aunt is like, I don't know how tall she is, but she's like 5'2", 5'3", 5'4", whatever. You get the point. She's like, super smart. She's like 100 pounds soaking wet. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you get the picture. But then skip some time later. She had this one boyfriend that, I guess he was abusive all along or wasn't a good guy. They broke up. It was a while past. But then one day her ex was like, okay, I guess whatever he said, I ain't having that. I'm coming to take you out. Well, he broke in and attempted to kill her and tried to beat her to death. And the only reason she survived was because he put his hands around her neck after, he beat her down and tried to finish the job. And what saved her life is she passed out and he thought she was dead. So yeah, he let go and walked away thinking she's gone, and she woke back up. But yeah, ever since she's had like brain damage and seizures and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it really messed her up, and she was unable to protect herself. And what if she disobeyed the unconstitutional laws upon her, saying she wasn't able to protect herself and defended herself, rightfully so? They would have charged her felon in possession of a firearm. So you have no right to self-defense. They're not going to keep you safe, yet they still declaw you anyway. And so that's where I wanted to get to with this Laken Riley case. And I've seen, a lot of people touch on it from the angle of, this guy was an illegal alien and the border crisis. And supposedly he's a part of this new gang that's taken over the Tren de Aragua or something like that. I know I just butchered it, but check it out on your own. Do your own research. But there's other things at play, and no one has touched on the fact that she was disarmed. She was declawed, and by being on a college campus on school grounds, you're not allowed to have a firearm. So that's what was going on. And they were like, one of the newspapers or something said something about, she fought back, and that startled him. The reason most likely he ended up killing her was because she fought back, and that startled him. Well, imagine if she, pulled something out and put a freedom pellet through his chest. I bet that would have startled him. But again, the unconstitutional, arbitrary rules were telling her she can't do that. And all these people on campus, all you woke feminists, all these people, hashtag gun control and, you want feminism. Samuel Colt said, that's the great equalizer. That's what, that tool, the firearm, is what helps, women like Laken Riley and my aunt defend themselves, or anyone, not just women, but handicapped men or anyone who's unable to defend themselves. It's the great equalizer. And you go declawed and you're unable to defend yourself. And then you have this clown of a Georgia mayor, which I'm going to have to talk about as well, saying, well, you remember what time, how it was around here in the teens, under the Trump regime, where we talked about illegal aliens or migrants in a bad manner. And it's like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? And this goes back to the whole red state comment I've said multiple times. I'm going to do a video on this about balkanization and all this. But you cannot run from this fight, fellas. I mean, this whole get to a red state kind of deal, you cannot run from it. It's coming everywhere. It's coming to your doorstep. And, show me the red state too, that doesn't require you, all these unconstitutional laws. They just passed something called the Laken Riley Act, where they're like, we're going to deport illegal aliens now who commit violent crimes. It's like, duh, no shit. Like, it took this for you to do that, and it's just like these constitutional carry states. Like, you don't need to pass that. It's already your natural right. You don't need some, law on the books. You don't need anyone to tell you you have the ability to do so. So show me, fellas, show me the red state who doesn't make you fill out a 4473 or jump through the unconstitutional hoops to defend yourself. And then, again, if you're in one of these so-called gun-free zones, aren't going to charge you when you fight back. They don't exist. And then this comes to a comment I received recently. I was talking about, I can't remember what video it was on, if it was on a Pro 2A channel or not, but they were discussing firearms, and, the guy said something about prohibited possessors. And believe it or not, even Pro 2A channels will mention often, oh, well, this guy was a prohibited possessor, or this or that. And I'm like, and that was exactly my comment. There's no such thing as a prohibited possessor. If they did the crime and they did the crime, or they did the crime and did the time, and they are free, well, then that's the end of it. They are a free man, woman, whatever, and they have the ability to defend themselves, and all their rights are intact. Well, so I said this comment that, I'll try to post it. I think I could find it. It was still up on my YouTube feed. I said there is no such thing as illegal weapons or prohibited possessors. And the guy said, well, you would feel differently if your best friend got gunned down on New Year's Eve by an SKS. And I said, well, actually, I had something very similar happen. I've had friends die by gun violence. I don't like calling that because it was human violence. The gun was just a tool. But in every single case of my friends who have died at the hands of whatever, guns, knives, whatever, it's because they were following the unconstitutional, arbitrary laws against them, telling them that they are unable to defend themselves in these unconstitutional, gun-free zones, or they're so-called felons, or whatever. So, yep, this video is getting too long, but I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, I mean, let me know what you think of that point. This world is too dangerous to be walking around unclawed. How is that for a t-shirt? But till the next one, you know what I always say, we are on our own. No one's coming to save us. So get right with God, because only God can save you. Freedom Fighters out.